All right, y'all. I wanted to jump on here. I wanted to jump on here tonight, and let me flip this over. I wanted to jump on here. I'm sure it's probably hard for you to see me because of this light behind me. But let me see. Let me just flip it around the other way. My back camera isn't working for some reason. But anyway, let's talk. Let's talk. One of the things that we're going to have to stop doing in this city, and I'm talking to the leaders right now because I know they're on my page. I'm talking to the city leaders. I'm talking to the city council. I'm talking to the administration. I'm talking to my colleagues on the school board. I'm talking to the religious leaders of this city. I'm talking to the pastors, to the rabbis, to the imams, to the bishops, the apostles, everybody in this town who holds a position of leadership or has somebody that looks up to them or somebody who looks to them for guidance at all. That's who I'm talking to. We have to get out of this thing with the cliques in this community. The unity that we're going to need to end this violence that's going on in our community has to be the type of unity that doesn't come with cliques. When are we going to start getting together for the sake of coming together? Not coming together under one person's name or one organization or two or three organizations or sponsored by this one or sponsored by that one come on. When are we going to get out of that nonsense? We're now in 2022. It doesn't matter who's in charge of it. What only thing that matters is that we come together and unify. We got to get out of this thing about, oh, I put this together. Oh, you put this together. Oh, I want to get credit for putting this event together. If we're going to get together and we're going to unify as a city, we need to do it as Paterson residents. No big I's, no little U's. No, I'm on the program, you on the program. My name's in bold print. Enough of this. This is why things are not happening in our city. This is the very reason why things are not happening in our city. We don't have jobs in this city. Let's just talk about it. We don't have jobs in this city. We don't have recreation centers in this city. Something that our city government can actually take control of, because there are so many abandoned properties in this city that could be used for recreation centers, places for our children to be at, and even for some of these adults to be able to have jobs and think. These are things that we need in this community. Until we start addressing the root causes of what's going on, it's just like cutting a plant. You could cut a plant all you want, but until you address the root, it's going to keep coming back. And violence is a root that continues to keep growing because we won't attack it at the root. It's a plant that keeps growing because we want to attack it at the root. And at the core of this is the lack of unity that we have with the leaders in this city. Everybody is doing their own separate thing instead of everybody just coming together for the same common goal, not with any flyers, not for any publicity, but just coming together as leaders in the city, without the pomp and circumstance, without the flourishes, without any of that, without the fanfare, but everybody just coming together and saying enough is enough. We haven't seen that yet. Every single thing that's been organized, there's been some name on the top of the flyer. Everything that's been organized, there's been some name on the flyer, some organization, some group, some society that's looking to get credit for it. And yet you have an event and the event is successful, and then you turn around and something else happens. Because we're really not addressing the root causes of what's going on here. We're not addressing the root causes of what's going on here across the board. I'm saying that we can't keep blaming each other, because you have one group blaming another group. You have city council members that are saying it's the school board's fault. You have the administration saying it's the council's fault. Everybody's pointing fingers and nobody's taking responsibility for what's going on in these streets out here. And the fact of the matter is, it's all our responsibility. Every elected official in this city should be sick and tired of what's going on out here. So much so that they're not afraid to speak on it. I shouldn't be the only one out here speaking on this. I shouldn't be the only one out here calling for unity, and not unity on the basis of, yeah, we're going to unify, but under this organization, or we're going to unify, but under this church, or we're going to unify, but only under this organization. We got to cut that mess out. We need to organize and unify just for the sake of organizing and unifying. Not under any specific umbrella, not under any specific church or leader or organization or mosque, not under any specific club or organization, but it needs to be unity on the basis of unity without any names. Can we have a nameless march one day? Can we have a nameless rally one day where there's no names anywhere, there's nobody you can contact, there's no contact or callback numbers, it's just the people coming together for the sake of pushing unity? Can we do that? Because it seems like all we're doing right now is we're just pushing fame and popularity. This is why I wanted to talk about this tonight. That's why I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to come on here tonight because I am, I was in there doing my homework, and I thought I was just gonna be able to do my homework and lay down. I'm not gonna be able to lay down after what I heard tonight. After what I received, the information that I received tonight, there's no possible way that I'm gonna be able to go to sleep tonight after hearing that. Forget about saying it's getting out of hand. It's been out of hand. And here it is. We're not even into February yet. We're not even into February yet. Not even into February yet. And look what's going on here. Not even into February. And we're already off to the races in terms of the gun violence. Not even February yet. Do y'all understand what I'm telling you? We are still in January. We are still in the month of January, and look what's going on already. We haven't even broke a solid month of 2022, and look what's going on. But everybody's coming around telling you that our city is doing well and that we're okay and that we're on the mend and that things are fine. Things are not fine. Our city has been under siege for a minute now in terms of violence and gun violence and what's going on in the drug situation in our communities. Our city has been under siege for a long time. And you might want to say, oh, well, we need more police, but look like most of them are corrupt too. You have police out here who are running down on guys who they think are selling drugs, taking their money and just leaving and telling them don't say anything or else we'll come back and arrest you, or worse. There's a lot of stuff going on here in these streets. So you can't simply say, oh, we need more cops, because a lot of them are just as corrupt. They're using their authority and the power they have that comes with that badge and gun. And they, like I said, they're running down on people in the street, taking their money, taking whatever they have and telling them not to say anything, or else they'll come back and arrest them. That's what's going on out here. So it's terrible because you can't even say, call the police. You can't even do that. You can't even do that. We're dealing with a real serious problem from the administration on down. We're dealing with a serious problem from the administration all the way down. I'm telling y'all, we are dealing with a very serious situation. And it's been going on for a while. And you would think that 2022, that there would at least be a few months where there would be a break. It's just continuous. It's just continuous. Outside of a press conference, what more are they actually going to do? Outside of a press conference. There are no jobs in this city. There are no jobs for our young people. There's things that could have been established. There was an arena that could have been built that could have employed hundreds of our young people and took them off the streets. That's the real talk. You got Burlington Coat Factory coming downtown, which can employ hundreds of our children and our young children, our young adults and so forth. There are so many things that we could have been doing with this city. So many abandoned buildings in this city. We could have been bringing so many companies here to open up where our young people and our young adults could be able to work and to bring them off the streets and to actually give them things that they can actually do. But it starts at the top. It starts at the top. And right now, the top is really in bad shape. The administration right now is really in bad shape. There's been no call from the mayor. There's been no call from anyone in the administration. They act like it's just another killing, just another shooting. and they just go on with their merry way to the next ribbon cutting. It's getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand. But what makes it worse, when you look at the lineup ain't much better than the person who's there now. It's just a terrible situation that we're dealing with in our city. It's a very bad situation that we're dealing with, and I'm tired of people trying to, tell us to be silent and to just sit there and say nothing. Please, our city is dying right now. You guys are seeing it for yourselves. Tonight wasn't the first shooting of 2022. It's been going on straight through since last year, since December, straight on through. And you would think that there would be some sort of reprieve or some sort of break with all of this, but it's constant. So when is the administration going to actually do something about it? If they're going to if they do plan to put more cops on the street, make sure those cops are clean and not crooked. Yeah, I said it. Make sure they're clean. If you're going to put if your plan is to say, well, we're going to put more cops on the street, make sure those cops are clean. Make sure they're not going to go out there and just shoot up people because they feel like they can. Make sure they're clean. Make sure they're people that are honest, decent people that are going to uphold and abide by the law and not go out there and just do whatever they want and figure that they can get away with it because they have a badge and a gun. Okay? You got people out here who they raised their children here, raised their family here, and they want, man, whether you guys know it or not, there is a huge exodus taking place in Paterson. People are leaving. Do you know why? I think they said it's 20%, something 70% of the residents in Paterson, I think they said, were renters, and maybe 20 or 30% are taxpayers or things like that. You know why people are skirting and getting out of this city, and the tax burden is increasing, and there isn't a whole lot of taxpayers left to carry that burden? Do you know why? Because people are leaving here. They're leaving here. They don't want to raise their families here. This isn't a place that they want to raise their families and their children. Let's just be honest. Paterson is not a place where people want to raise their families anymore. It has become too dangerous. When you can't even go to the car to get groceries, that's a whole nother level of violence right there. That's a whole nother level of violence. That's a whole nother level of critical violence that's going on in our communities. And for us to hear nothing, for nothing to be said, nothing to be done, or we're just going to put the street crimes unit out there. Make sure those guys are clean. Don't send people out there that are just going to kill us and tell us to stop killing one another, and they're out here killing us. That's another problem, because I know at one time, people will say, oh, well, we're out here shooting each other. Well, the cops are also shooting us. So it's like we're getting hit from both angles. It's almost like a no-win situation. You got to worry about somebody on the street trying to kill you, and then when you call the police, you got to worry about if that officer is going to take you for somebody else and try to shoot you. This is a terrible situation we're dealing with in this city right now. It's a terrible situation we're dealing with right now. And all I know is we need a solid leader in this community, in this city. I'm telling y'all that right now. I'm giving y'all the straight facts, because as you can see, there's no real leadership in this city right now. We're the third largest city in the entire state of New Jersey. We are the third largest city in the entire state, and we are the largest municipality in the county. Let me say that again. Paterson is the third largest city in the entire state of New Jersey, and the largest municipality in the entire county of Passaic. And what do we really have to show for it? What do we really, when you sit down and really, don't answer that question with a mind of being in favor of this person or that person. Think about that question objectively. Now, I'm not putting anybody down, as I'm a Paterson resident myself. I'm talking about in terms of what's going on out here, in terms of the lack of safety, and then to try to tie it in. That's a whole nother conversation. But to try to tie it into the Board of Ed and things of that nature, of what's really going on right now with the city council, calling them, instead of them taking responsibility and taking the helm and grabbing the bull by the horns and steering this ship in the right direction and making sure that things are floating smoothly, what do? They try to pass the buck. But I'm here to tell you, passing the buck is not going to fix this problem. Pointing the fingers around is not going to fix it. But what we need to do is start holding the city accountable. I mean, for real. We can't just yell and scream. We got to show these people that we mean business. We're going to have to. Because I guarantee you, if you have a mayor here that really cares about what's going on in this community, you would see. I can't say that it would completely eradicate all violence, but you sure wouldn't see stuff like this, man, without it being addressed. I mean, appropriately. So we have a lot of thinking to do, man. As a community, we have a lot of thinking to do. We can't continue to go through this. We can't continue to go through this. This is terrible. We can't, we cannot continue to go through this. We just can't. We cannot continue to go through this. Something has to change. I got on here a couple of days ago, and I think it was Sunday night, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, I was emotional. I was a little upset. And I told you guys that a lot of y'all are saying you want change, you want change. But then when the opportunity comes to make that change, you don't want to take it. I said that Sunday night, and I'm going to keep echoing that message until y'all hear me. You want change, and I believe you do. But there's some steps that will have to be taken for that change to take place. It will not happen if we continue to do the same thing that we've been doing and continuing to put people in those seats that we've been putting there. It's just not going to happen. And I'll have to keep driving this message home until y'all get it, until you guys understand what I'm saying. I'm going to have to keep driving this message home. There's no other way to put it. You get the government that you select, and the government that you select constructs the legislation that governs the community that you live in, that encompasses the police, public safety, quality of life. All of that comes under the legislation that is put together by the legislative body, which is the city council, and it is enforced, or supposed to be enforced, by the administration. That's the mayor's office and the cabinet. That's where a lot of this has to take place at. We're expecting new things to happen with the same people. That's ridiculous. You can't possibly, look, we've been doing it for how many years now? Has it worked? Just answer that question. Has it worked? Has it worked? Has it worked? Has any of this worked? I'm not against anybody. I'm not here to bash any of the candidates, but I just want to ask y'all, has it worked? Ask yourself. We've been selecting the same people to represent us for years and years and years on the municipal level. Has it worked? That's all you got to do is ask yourself that question objectively. I'm not telling you to ask yourself that question as a fan of this person or a fan of that person, because I get it. I get it. We all have people that we love and we respect. We all have people that we're cool with. I understand that. I get that. But separate yourself from that and just ask yourself, is the current setup in place working? That's what you got to ask yourself. Separate yourself from, I like this person, I respect this person, we went to school together. Ask yourself, is the current setup working? The way it is right now, is it working? Is it working? How many more incidents do we have to go through to realize it's not working? How many more tragedies do we have to go through? Now there's another family that's completely devastated. Multiple families that are completely devastated again. How much is it going to take for us to say, you know what? Enough is enough. We're going to keep going through these folks until we find somebody that we know, that we see that's going to do what they need to do. And if they get in there after 3 months, if they don't do what they're supposed to do, we'll do a recall and we'll throw them out. You don't have, let me tell y'all something. I'm gonna give y'all some real talk right now. You don't have to wait 4 years to remove anybody from office. If they get in there the first 3 months and they don't get anything done, you can do a recall. You can go to the city clerk on the 3rd floor of City Hall and you can put in a petition for a recall. And as long as you have a certain percentage, and they'll tell you what the percentage needs to be, as long as you have a certain percentage of voters, registered voters, to sign that recall, you can throw that you can have that person removed from office and make them have to run again. Did you guys know that? Did you know that? Once somebody's in office, you don't have to deal with them for 4 years. You don't have to say, uh-oh, this person got elected, so they're going to be here for 4 years. No, that's not how that works. They wouldn't do that in a white community. They only do that in the hood because they don't think we know any better. If you elect somebody in the city hall and 3 months later, they're not doing the job, you have the power to do a recall petition and have them removed from office. Okay? That's right. Take it back. You don't have to listen. You don't have to leave them there. Just because they were put there does not mean you have to leave them there. And that's just the reality. Oh, I'm on live. Yeah. That's just the reality of it. That's the reality of it. And I don't think a lot of people know that. You don't have to leave them there. That's the whole thing. Everybody has to get together. That's the biggest problem we're having now. The biggest problem right now between the different city governments or the different elected officials in the city, the biggest problem now is everybody's pointing the fingers at everybody, and nobody wants to sit down and actually meet and try to come up with an absolute plan that can address this issue. Instead, everybody's just pointing fingers at one another instead of coming together and making this thing work. Okay? Yeah, see that? Yeah, exactly. Because this isn't working. You don't need anybody that's going to be at the helm who's going to be pandering to political powers and things of that nature. And you need somebody that's going to actually be official in terms of making sure that some actual changes get done and to be out there. Yeah, and that's why me and Jackson bump heads a lot. Me and Jackson are just alike. We both have ambition, and we both are very straightforward, and we both are going to say what we're going to say, and we don't care how people think or feel about it. So it's kind of like when you get two people that are the same, they start clashing, and not in a bad way, but both of us are opinionated, and we're going to say what we feel, and that's going to be it. But if you're going to put somebody in office, you better put somebody there who's going to say it, and who's not going to be afraid to address the issues that are going on out there. And I mean, this is the time to have that discussion. They don't want to have the discussion. They don't want to talk about it. Of course not. Why would they want to talk about this right now? Why would they want to bring this up right now? That's the last thing they want to talk about. Is what are we going to do in our community, in our streets? We got in order to take back our communities, take back our neighborhoods, take back our streets from the crime and the violence and everything that's going on. The only way to take that stuff back is we got to start at 155 Market Street. That's where it starts. It starts at 155 Market Street in terms of the city. Now we can get into. I know some people say, "Oh, it starts in the home." You know what? If you look in today's age, if you look at the modern home setup, it's a whole nother thing. You can't even look at the family structure now for how it was in the 90s and in the 80s. In 2022, from me being out here and seeing it and going to people's houses to assist them and things like that, the whole family setup is a totally different thing from what it was back in the 90s and in the 80s. So you can't even make the comparison anymore. You have to deal with it on a totally different level. Okay? No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, see? And those little details like that, Lynn, those are little details that they'll never broadcast. They'll never speak about. They'll never put it out on broadband. They'll never make sure that the masses know that stuff. They're going to keep that at a very low volume, at a whisper. But if you notice, most of the African Americans, even in the administration, are being removed and replaced. You guys pay attention to what's going on at 155 Market, and you will see most of the administration, the African Americans, are being booted out. And if they are there, they're being harassed. Okay? You guys pay attention, you'll see. Okay? You'll see. African Americans are being booted out in the different areas of this city in terms of the offices and things of that nature. Well, Michelle, you already know how I am. I've been in these streets forever, and you will get the activists. The biggest problem I have with city government is that they say activists don't belong in city government, and I think that's wrong. They say that activists don't belong in city government. So what you're going to get with me is the activists that you have now. Some people are telling me not to use the word activist because it sounds too radical and it doesn't. If you're trying to really run for something, don't use the word activist. No, I'm an activist. If that offends you, then, hey, it offends you. But I'm an activist. And that's what you're going to get in City Hall. You're going to get an activist. Now, am I going to say I'm God? I can, get to every house at one time? No, I walk. I don't even have a driver's license, so I walk. Wherever I have to go, I walk. Or get an Uber when I have a couple extra dollars. But I can guarantee you're going to get an activist. You're going to get somebody that's in these streets all the time. Somebody who's addressing the issues and is not pandering to anybody. Somebody who doesn't have a lot of friends. You don't see me at a lot of these events hobnobbing with these people. You don't see me in a lot of pictures at these different events. When they had those Christmas events and holiday events, you didn't see me there. That's not what I do. I'm an activist. I'm a guy in the street that fights for the community, and that's what I do. And that's what you're going to get. They claim that activists aren't allowed in City Hall. They think you're supposed to either be an activist. They're saying either you're supposed to be an activist or you're supposed to be an elected official. But that's not my thing. Me, I'm an activist. And I'm going to remain an activist. To the day I leave this earth, I'm going to remain an activist. And that's what you guys are going to get. You guys are going to get an activist. You're going to get somebody who's going to do exactly what I've been doing, and that is fighting for you the way I've been doing. You guys continue to call me. What do? I'm there, and I get things done. I make the connections. I do whatever needs to be done, and I'm the person that's the thing. Whenever something happens, I'm the phone number that people call. All I got to do is put my phone list. If I post my phone list, you guys will see all the numbers. But I don't think everybody wants their numbers published on Facebook like that. But if I showed you guys my phone list for 1 week, if I showed you my phone list for 1 week of the amount of phone calls that I receive in a single week because of issues that are going on in this community, it would blow your mind. The problem is, I'm sure that those people don't want their numbers, posted on Facebook like that, on a Facebook post. That's not a place to do that. And I'm sure nobody will want their phone numbers just sitting up there on Facebook like that. But if they gave me permission to post my phone log to show you guys how many phone calls I get in a single week, it would blow your mind. Okay? Oh, yeah. I think Nancy is going to be over there as well. I'm going to be there, and I believe Nancy's going to be there tomorrow. And, of course, you know what's going to happen now. There's going to be a call to action. But we got to go beyond that, man. There's got to be some systematic changes that have to take place. And listen, it's not going to be easy. There's going to be some difficult decisions that we're going to have to make. And some people that we're going to have to say, you know what, we love you, we appreciate you, but you're not the person. We need somebody that's a little more radical, that's not going to be afraid to go down to the governor's office and say, look, the governor comes here to Paterson and he gets all the votes from here, but he doesn't come actually here to address these issues. Just want to make sure y'all are aware of that. You have to win Paterson to win the governor's race in a way. If he did not win Paterson, he would not have won re-election. I'm sure you guys saw the election results between Phil Murphy and Chitterelli. I'm sure you guys saw those numbers on election night in November between him and Chitterelli. The only way that Phil Murphy won is when Paterson's numbers, when I think it was Paterson and Newark, if I'm not mistaken. But when Paterson's numbers came in, that's when Phil Murphy pushed over the top and won. It was from Paterson's numbers. Paterson and I believe Newark as well. But my point is, Paterson put him over the top. So it's time for us to make some phone calls. In 2014, who was the governor in 2014? If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Christie, if I'm not mistaken. But in 2014, we tried to do that. And people didn't want to get with me and try to push the envelope. Now here it is, 2021. 2021. Hopefully somebody will listen. Because we tried this in 2014. We also tried it in 2012, 10 years ago. Matter of fact, I got to go back and find the videos and stuff from 10 years ago. 2012, 2011, 2010. We were out there protesting against the violence. This isn't something new. I didn't just wake up yesterday and decide that I'm going to start, being an activist. I have videos from 2008, 2007, when we were out there with Bilal Hakeem, with Kamau Kalfani, and many others, okay, who are out there rallying and protesting and marching against the violence that was taking place in our communities. And that was 10, 15 years ago. So I'm not a newbie, okay? I'm not a novice when it comes to being an activist and fighting the community. I've been out here for many, many years on the ground fighting for this community. Many of the people who I started out with, went a little further, and then they act like they don't know who you are, but that's a whole nother thing. But I started out with a lot of these brothers who have, many of them have went on to even bigger things. I started out with them. They brought me up in this. They showed me how to be an activist. They showed me how to get out there and make my voice heard. I made my first flyer. Reverend Pope, I got to call you back. I put my first flyer together in 2004. It was the first rally I ever had. Only 2 people showed up because I didn't know how to spread the word back then. I was very young, so I didn't really know how to put the word out. And there was 2 people there, right in front of the library on Broadway. There was 2 people there. And the only reason why there was 2 people there is because I was young and I didn't really understand how to, promote and how to get the word out. And it was right there in 2004 where a couple of brothers came up to me and they showed me how to start being an activist and getting involved in the movements that were going on. So like I said, this isn't a new thing for me. I didn't jump up yesterday morning and say, I'm going to get into activism now. I've been doing this for years and years, way before I ever ran for anything, way before I even thought about running for anything, years before that. And I can show y'all. Matter of fact, I got to pull that stuff up. When on each day it comes on your screen that has like Facebook memories. I got to see if I can scroll back that far and pull up some stuff from back then to show you guys. This isn't something new. I didn't just start this. And way back then, when Andre was on the school board, I was out there on Church Street. There was the superintendent that was here, Dr. DeRoy. Dr. DeRoy was here. When I first started advocating for the school system, it was back here when Dr. Edwin DeRoy was the superintendent and the Board of Education was on Church Street. And $50 million disappeared. I don't know if y'all remember that. This is when Dr. Edwin DeRoy was the superintendent and the Board of Education was on Church Street, 33 Church Street. And I remember going out there with Dr. Hodges and several others, and we protested. Dr. Hodges and Dr. Joe Italo, who passed away, and a couple of others. And we went out there and we protested. Okay, because $50 million disappeared under Dr. Edwin DeRoy. And that was back when the school district was on 33rd Street, 33 Church Street. And we were out there protesting and made so much noise until we forced that man out of this district. And that was years and years and years ago. Okay, so, you talking about activism? Yeah, I've been doing it a very long time and I know what I'm doing. And in February, I think it's February 22nd, if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to be doing an advocacy symposium for new young activists that want to come out, Generation X that's coming up, that wants to get involved in movements and what have you. I have a wealth of knowledge when it comes to being an activist. What I don't have is knowledge when it comes to being a politician, but I do have knowledge of being an activist and making sure that the voices are heard, the people who can't be heard, that their voices are heard. That's what I bring to the table. Never claim to be a political expert. I'm not a political expert. But when it comes to activism and it comes to advocating and it comes to fighting for people and writing letters for people and writing rebuttals to court cases and writing letters to organizations and things that are trying to disenfranchise people, and down to these state agencies and federal agencies that are supposed to be providing different services and things to people. When it comes down to that, I know what I'm doing with that stuff. Sometimes it becomes overwhelming because you get so many requests at one time and you're trying to do everything at once and it becomes overwhelming. Yes, it will. It does. But you know what? At the end of the day, you feel relieved because you know that you helped somebody get to where they are. or you help somebody get and go forward. That's what I do, man. That's who I am. That's what I can't be anything else but who I am. And that's who I am. That's an activist. But they say that activists are not supposed to be in those seats. That's what they claim. That's what they claim. But I'm an activist to my heart. That's who I am, and that's what I do. Okay? We can change this stuff out here, man. But in order to do it, we got to make some changes. Nothing changes if nothing changes. That's all there is to it. Yeah, Billy, you're absolutely right. Now to that comment, there is a lady, and I don't think she wanted me to mention her name yet. She told me today, I had a conversation with her, and she told me that she is willing to sponsor 4 people who want to fill out police applications, because the applications are $25 a piece. And matter of fact, yeah, I'll put her name out there. Her name is Keisha Wesley. I'm sure she don't mind. She's a good friend of mine, and she said that she is willing to sponsor 4 people who want to fill out police applications. Because she told me today that the Civil Service Commission is looking for police officers around the state. But we aren't really talking about around the state. We're talking about right here in Paterson. But anyhow, she is willing to sponsor 4 people who would like to fill out police applications. And I think the police application is $25, and she has put some money aside so that if there are some people that want to apply and they don't have the $25 application fee, that she is willing to make that contribution so that they can submit their application. Okay? I wish they would take the age limit off. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, just for those who didn't catch it, like I said, I have a friend. Her name is Keisha Wesley. And she has agreed. Not even agreed. She said this. She came up with this. This wasn't my idea. Let me say that first and foremost. This was her idea. She called me today and she said, look, this is what I can do. If 4 people, I can sponsor 4 people to apply for the police. And the application is $25. Like I said, now that wasn't my idea. I'm not going to sit there and say I came up with that. She came up with that, and I think it's a great idea. She came up with it today. She called me, and she told me that, if I could find 4 people that are interested. I don't know the age requirements and stuff, but if you can find that out and you're of the age and you want to apply and you don't have the $25, you reach out, you inbox me, I will connect you to her, and she'll get you the $25 so that you can go ahead and submit your application. Okay? Absolutely. And so that's what and then, like I said, that was her idea. Now I'm not trying to make claim to that idea. That was not something I came up with. That's something she came up with. Because just like Billy said, her conversation was, we have to be part of the solution. That's exactly what she said. And the reason why I mention her name, just in case she hears it, she can come on here and verify what I'm saying, because I have no need to lie. So she called me today, and that was basically the conversation, that we need to try to become part of the solution and start to change the narrative by, putting our people there. So if you are interested and you have the qualifications and so forth, reach out to me and now, you know what? And who knows, by her act of generosity, more people may come forward and do that. And that's another thing. You know what, Valerie, that's one of the biggest things, because when you don't have a vested interest in your community, that automatically takes away from the sincerity of what you're doing. If you figure, I'm just going to do what I got to do and I'm going back home to my town and what have you, there's a totally different vibe versus somebody that lives here, that knows the people here, that knows the community. They live in the community. Because come on, if you live in the community and everybody knows you, there's going to be a totally different type of relationship anyway. Because if you pull up to somebody and you got your lights on and you walk up to the car and they see you and they say, oh, that's Mr. Johnson. I know him. He lived 2 blocks down from me. It changes the mood. That whole weird, awkward feeling of being pulled over or stopped or whatever kind of goes away when you know the person. And, oh, I know that person. I grew up with their sons or daughters, things like that. It's a more cohesive thing because you know who that person is. But when a stranger in a uniform pull up to you and holding on to their gun and talking to you in an extremely stern voice, it could become a very hostile situation. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. So there's a guy here from Nutley. Wow. Wow, that's crazy. I wish I could get some of the information on these folks, man. Oh, it is Keisha. Yeah, Keisha. Yep, absolutely. It is Keisha Wesley. Absolutely. And that's really that's an amazing gesture, man. Yep. Oh, yes. Okay, I understand, Val. I understand. Absolutely. Yep, but that's a good gesture from her. I want to give a shout out to Miss Wesley, man, because that's like being proactive. If I had the money, I would sponsor people myself. And who knows? Soon, I'm already in law school. Things get to a point where I'm able to start working as a paralegal soon. I'm going to dedicate some of my money to start helping people that live in Paterson to apply. But I'm just praying for God to open some doors for me. He opens some more doors for me. I'll be able to open doors for others. That's the difference between me and a lot of other people. But I thank God for having people that are around me that are committed to trying to bring about positive change in the city. So, shout out to her, and make sure you guys, if you know anybody, send them to her so she can, help them out. And maybe she has some people in her corner with her that would be willing to help out as well, in that effort, Okay, if you reach out to Keisha Wesley, let me put the name here. Reach out to Keisha Wesley. She's on Facebook, and you can connect with her, and she'll tell you how to go about. That's why it can go through her. I'm gonna let her know too. As soon as I get off this live, I'm gonna let her know. Wow, this is dope. I'm gonna let her know. Okay, I just tagged her. Okay, I just tagged her. So I just tagged her. So you reach out to Keisha Wesley if you want to donate. Reach out to her. I'm sure she know how to make the connections to get people signed up. You don't have to don't send it to me. Send it to her. So y'all could work that situation out. You know what I'm saying? Send it to her, and make sure you do all of that through her. If you're trying to get help with filling out the application, I can help you fill it out. If you need help with that. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I spoke to a former councilman today, and he told me, if I'm not mistaken, it was either 3 or 4 out of the entire recent graduating class. I think he told me there was either 3 or 4 African Americans in that whole group. I'm gonna double check, but if I'm not mistaken, that's what he told me today. I've been on the phone, man. I've been connecting with a lot of people and trying to figure this thing out, because something has to happen. And to be honest, that's crazy. Okay. Okay, January 31st is the deadline. Okay. Yeah, Chrissy. Yep, without a doubt, that's facts. No argument from me on that. That's facts. We can't just young child, and from what I'm told now, 2 other people were injured, but from what I was told, a young child got hit by a stray bullet, and didn't make it, unfortunately, and 2 other people were injured. And that's just so outrageous, man. We're not supposed to be burying our children. that's why I can't sleep right now. I was supposed to finish my homework and then try to lay down and get ready for tomorrow. But I can't, we're not supposed to be burying our children. We're not supposed to be burying our youth. That's a very scary prospect there, man. We're not supposed to be burying our children. This is just, it's been out of hand. It's not getting out of hand. It's been out of hand. And I know I don't even keep the camera on me anymore because it ain't even about me. You know what I'm saying? It's about getting these streets together. That's why I keep the camera on the streets, because that's what we need to try to straighten out the streets. And I don't even keep the camera on me. I don't care how I look. It ain't got nothing to do with me. It's about getting these streets straight and getting this community safe, man. We can, where I live is like right next to a courthouse. So it's like, it's a totally different atmosphere. But I grew up on Hamilton Ave, so I know that area. And I grew up over there. And I grew up on 10th Avenue and East 23rd. So it's like I grew up on 10th Avenue, East 23rd. I grew up on Hamilton Avenue. And then I lived on North Main Street for a couple of years as well. So, I mean, I know the areas and I know the situations there, man. But something has to happen. Okay. Yeah, I'm down with that, man. I'm down with that. All you gotta do is inbox me and inbox me the dates and the times, and then you know what? I'll check and see. Because as long as I'm not in class, or as long as I'm not in class and I don't have a board meeting, I'm down. That's not a problem. Because we're gonna have to have these conversations. And you guys, Billy Preempt is, a leader in this community that I think a lot of people have. I know a lot of y'all heard of him because he's very popular. He's, man, he even got a verified check mark on his page, man. I've been trying to get one of those for years. The brother's well known, and he's a very powerful activist and advocate in this community. And you're going to be hearing a lot more from him on my page. We recently connected here on Facebook, so you're going to hear a lot of interaction from him as well. Yep. Oh, you did? Okay, cool. So I'm sure she'll reach out. Cool. That's cool, Billy. That's cool. We'll get that going, man. We'll sit down and we'll have that conversation, and man, have the talks that we really need to have. Yep. All right, y'all. I gotta get ready to try to go in. But yeah, reach out to Miss Wesley, and I'm getting ready to go in. I got to try to finish up this report for class. If I don't do it tonight, then I'm sure it's going to be late. I can't let it be late. So let me go in here, and I'm right now I'm in a pre-law program because I'm going to school to become an attorney. And, right now I'm taking 3 law classes, a writing through literature class, and first year experience class. So, my goal is to eventually, pass my LSAT and pass the bar, go to law school, pass the bar, and, become an attorney. That's my ultimate goal. So I need to get in here and get to work. That's absolutely right. Billy, that's absolutely right, brother. Yes, that's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. Yep. Absolutely right. The time has come. Okay? Yep. All right, y'all. Let me get in here and get this report done. And then I'll be back with an update tomorrow. Be safe out there, please. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Val. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. See you guys later.